everyone. So today we're going to see how to make a sequencer. I just forgot my webcam, so you won't see my face today. So this is to be more friendly for an introduction, but we're going to do this kind of stuff. And now let's begin right away. So I'm going to delete my virtual self. Okay, so in order to do this, first we need some notes to flow from left to right. So first thing we need to do is to create 7. Let's go with 7 rows, like in my original post. So I'm going to create a noise, and it's not the final dimension of the screen because we only need 7 rows, and we're going to focus later on how to have proper definition to display. Right now, I'm going to go to Command page in the parameter page of the noise, Command tab, and say, let's go with 1080 pixel wide and 7 pixel high. So this is going to be each and every pixel of my noise. Let's go with nearest pixel. This is going to be a row on my sequencer. Okay, let's see a bit better these 7 rows. So we're going to add a fit and go with like how do we want to fit? We want to fill our screen with our noise. We don't want it to be interpolated, so we go to the Command tab and select nearest pixel. Right now we can see, like, barely see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. So that's perfect. That's like our 7 rows in our sequencer. Second thing we want is a way to individually displace our rows from left to right. Let's place a displace. Displace, it's right in the title, it's going to like displace our image. Right now we want really separate displacement independent per row. So we're going to add a noise, a second noise top, and this one is going to be 1 pixel in width because we want our whole row to go left or right, and 7 pixel high, so it matches our existing noise. Okay, we can directly, I think, select pixel format. We want to use 32-bit float because it's going to give us more precise color, and it could result in more like jagged movement if we stick with 8-bit fixed. So let's select 32-bit float. We can use mono because we only need 1 channel, and connect it to our displays. We can see here that it's already kind of working. So 2 things. In displace, I want to disable the vertical displacement because we only want our rows to go left or right, not up and down in pixels. So vertical source, I don't want any displacement, none. We could also do like displace weight 0 here. That's the same. And we see that when it displaces our screen, like our rows, it holds off the last color, and we would want to have like just the continuation of our color, like the amount of the row that is off screen, we want it to get back from the other side of the screen, like it loops. So all right, yeah, we are visualizing it in fit because it's more it's simpler, but let's stick in displace for the parameters. I want the extend. So extend is what happens when you displace your image so much that it goes off screen. And now we're doing kind of drastic displacement. So extend, what do we want? We want repeat. And now what it does is exactly that. What goes off screen comes back the other way. There are several other advantages to use 32-bit float for displacement. It's because like 1 unit in our displays. Like if our color is pure white, it's going to displace our row of pixel 1 unit like of the screen, like 1 unit in terms of UV unit, like 1 screen. It goes just 1 time the length of the screen. But now maybe we want to displace it even further. So 32-bit float, what it allows us, like it allows us for more precise color, but also color outside of the range of 0, 1. So we can increase our amplitude. And we see that when we increase it, we can really go, like it doesn't clamp to 1. I don't know if it's really precise, but it's not so important. Some of you will benefit from this info. Okay, now the noise, when we transform our noise, we see that it affects the rows. So I want something to drive my displacement, like my transform, my noise transform. So we could use the apps time.second. You might be familiar with it, but let's use something a bit different. It's just creating a constant chop. So constant chop, just a value, you have a slider, it goes up and down between 0 and 1. And we will use a speed. Speed is just like an operator that measures, like it grows each frame depending on the value you enter here. So if we have a really low value, it increases really slowly. But when we have a high value, it increases really really faster. We could also do negative values and it decreases. So it's a really nice tool when we want to add or subtract from a value each frame. And you can use it kind of like appstime.second, but with a slider as an input. So I'm doing this and then a null. So if we want to add something in between our value, we stay connected because the link is going to be from null and not from speed or constant. And in the noise, let's link that. So hit the plus button to activate the operator, or it's A. Drag and drop the value on your operator just so you have the parameter screen, and then drop on the desired parameter. And I'm going to select chop reference, this blue field. It's going really crazy. I don't think I want my sequencer to go, like to ever go this fast. So in between, I'm going to add a mass and divide my value. So in the multi-add tab of the parameter screen, I can go with 0.1 in the multiply. So now it's much slower. Just click on my constant to be able to adjust the slider. So 1, this would be my fastest speed. So a bit too fast, but I like to have like even 2 fast parameters. And then we can really go much slower. Okay, perfect. Now, what do we want for our sequencer? We want to be able to detect like notes. Like right now, it's just throwing values, no hard edge like 0 or 1. And we want to analyze when this pixel crosses the middle of the screen. The first step is really easy. It's just to add a threshold between our displays and our feet. Now we have our values, and we can adjust the threshold to thin down or increase the width of the notes, because it's going to select which part of our noise we want to select. It's basically saying only keep the part of the image that the luminance is above 0.764. So if you put it like this, there's a lot of the image that is above 0.171 in luminance, because our noise is fairly grayscale, so we have a bit of every luminance values. We can maybe increase it. Yeah, this is nice. If we imagine that each one is a note, and when it crosses the middle, it triggers a note, it seems like a nice rhythm. We'll hear a bit later. Okay. Now what we want is to detect. We want to detect when it crosses the middle of the screen. For that, let's take a connection out of the threshold and create a top to chop. Top to chop, it just take your top and analyzes the values like the red, green, blue, and alpha channel of your texture. Right now, it's just analyzing one row, but we want to analyze one column. So in crop, let's select not row. So crop is just what are you analyzing? Just a single pixel, a row, or a column. Let's select column. We have 7 pixels in our image, but only 1, 2, 3, 4 values here. So there's something we must be missing. It's the V start here. So this is like why it's called crop. It's because you can crop exactly the part of the image you want to analyze. And right now it's selecting from the start of the like the U start of the screen. So it's selecting this part here horizontally, and V start, V end, it's selecting from the middle of the screen to the bottom of the screen, because 0 is the top and 1 is the bottom. So let's go all the way to 0 here, and we gain our 7 pixel back. It can be really handy to know your way around top to chop when you want to analyze and get precise values from your textures. So I suggest if you haven't gone really in depth with it, it's really nice to use. Also now it's analyzing U0, so this here, but we want the middle. It's going from 0 to 1 because we're in UV coordinates. So here, let's go with 0.5. Now we're analyzing from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen at the middle value. It's exactly what we want. We now have red, green, blue, and alpha value, but we don't need all of this. And we also see that they are the same. It's because from black to white and from transparent to opaque, like it's the same value. So we can just keep one of the different channels. Let's go with red. And as we're going to use this as a trigger, we can rename it trigger. It saves us like a rename. It's clearer to see what we're doing with this value. Okay, that's a start. If we want to see a bit more what we're doing here, we can create a rectangle to just give us like kind of reticle of the middle of our screen. Let's go with a rectangle that's 1 unit high and 0 unit wide. So now our rectangle disappears, but we can increase the border width, like the stroke of our rectangle. Let's go with 5 pixels. And we need to offset this stroke completely outside of the shape. When it's 0, it's like your border is inside of your shape. When it's 0.5, it just sits midway. Like half of the stroke is outside of your rectangle, half of it is outside. And when it's 1, it's completely outside. So even if our size is 0, we still have this, yeah, like the stroke. Border color, let's go with something visible. Let's go with red, bright red. Okay, so this is perfect. We can, I'm not going to put it in the background because I don't want it to be blinding, like to prevent you from seeing my screen. So let's stick with that, not zooming out too much. And now we can instead of having like one row like this, one channel, we want separate values. Here, I'm going to create a shuffle chop. Shuffle chop can do two things mainly. If you have one channel with multiple samples, it can create a single channel per sample. So method split all samples, and now we have just one channel per sample in our original chop. This is going to be exactly what we need for MIDI. Speaking of MIDI, maybe let's load our MIDI instrument. So you can go in Dialog, MIDI Device Mapper, and create new mapping. Here you want, actually I'm going to select also an input device because it will be easier to select the notes, and an output device. So out is we are going to send out our note to an instrument. Okay, perfect. So now, how do we know which notes we're going to trigger? Maybe let's visualize first when a note hits like our reticle in the middle. Let's visualize like let's have the whole row blinking. For that, first I'm going to clean the trigger a bit. I don't want like sustain. I want just to know when the note is triggered. So create a logic chop, and in logic chop you can select channel pre-operation. What I want is raising edge. I want to know exactly on the frame that the value goes from 0 to 1. I want my channel to be at 1, and if it stays up, I don't want to know, like I don't want it to stay on 1. And now you can see that it only blinks when it goes from 0 to 1, and that's it. Okay, so first we transform our top to chop to get this channel, and we're going to do exactly the reverse. We're going to, so let's put a null just in case, and we're going to, from this chop, drag from the output, hit tab and create chop to top. And now we have and now we have an image that takes each channel and outputs a pixel from these channels. Let's just go to command nearest pixels. We'll see individual pixels. Okay, perfect. And now we want it to be the same size as our other elements. So I can just copy and paste our feed top, and drag the output, keep the same parameters. Okay, perfect. We could even put this over the user, like this. So one in the top input and one in the bottom. But now you see that the red reticle has become white, and we don't have the same transparent screen here. So what is happening? When you transform your data from chop to top, be careful what the data format is. So right now it's saying just red. So it's the same as if you select pixel format 8-bit mono or 32-bit mono depending. So what we want, so maybe we can stay with red, but in our fit select pixel format 8-bit fix RGBA. And now we can see that our reticle is going back to red. The reason for that is because it's saying it's using the input 2 in our over as the fixed layer. From the fixed layer, our over is going to inherit all its parameters like the size, the dimension of the screen, but also the pixel format. like pixel format is set as use input. Here we have 2 inputs, so you must say from which input do you want your parameters to come from. So right now it's input 2. Okay. It's a bit violent right now, like there's no fade out, it's just like blinks. Maybe I want just a smooth, a bit more smooth fade out. So I'm just making place between my logic and my null and inserting a lag chop. What lag chop does is it eases the transition from 0 to 1 and from 1 to 0. Specifically, like with 2 values, how much it eases when it goes up and how much it eases, like how long it eases actually when it comes down. I want to have really snappy attacks, so I want actually 0 easing on the attack. And let's keep the release as 0, 2. And now that's perfect. Okay, let's go back to MIDI. So right now I want to have like these values and control my MIDI instrument. Let's insert a MIDI in, just so I can analyze. Oh yeah, so I selected my MIDI input here, but with a different instrument it can react differently. I noticed that when I connect with dialog MIDI device and select it here, it can like it doesn't register, so I just restart my MIDI instrument. I'm using OPXY from Tennage that they actually sent me just to use for that, so really grateful. And now we can see that it registers. Perfect. So now I can also let me add audio device in, so I can let you hear what I'm hearing. Where does it come from? It comes from my OPXY. And what format is it in? It's stereo. Perfect. Now I hear it, but to let you hear it, I need to create an audio device out. Okay, so you should be hearing the notes. Now, so this is going to be a bit different depending on the instrument you're using. So this part is you need to refer to the MIDI implementation of your own MIDI instrument. In the MIDI in, I can see when I press notes, because I set my instrument to set MIDI notes. Maybe you need to go inside your the settings in your instrument to make sure it is sending notes, either getting the notes from your audio interface that has a MIDI input, like a MIDI DIN input, or maybe you can connect your instrument directly via USB and get the USB, like the MIDI information via USB. That's what I'm doing. So what notes do I want to trigger with this? So what I like to do is to just see, like, hit the notes directly and see what are the one I want to map. So 61, 65, 61, 65, 66, okay, maybe like this. Yes. So let me take the input, just the logic, and rename our trigs, so our MIDI instrument will know that it's just like random values, but it's actually we want to trigger such or such note. We can connect it to our MIDI out like this. Right now it's not going to work because your MIDI device doesn't know what trigger 0, trigger 1 is. You need to send the proper information. In your MIDI out chop, you can see so which device are you sending the notes to. You can have multiple MIDI device in your MIDI device mapper. So right now it's ID1 is the first one. So we're sending to ID1. The channel prefix is CH. So first, MIDI is a multi-channel protocol, so we need to say I want to send to channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Personally, I know that I'm on track 5, and I set track 5 to send MIDI channel 5. So when I hit my note in the MIDI in, you can see channel 5 and 61. So what does N mean? I think it stands for itself. It's for note. But you can make sure in MIDI out that it's set as N. Note name N. So if we need to send a note, we can say which channel. So CH, for me it's 5, so CH5, note 61 and 61. So if we rename our values to CH5 and 61, so now we see that when it hits the first one, it actually sends a note. There may be a delay between what you're hearing and what you're seeing. There's like latency from just acquiring the signal, but this is like really depending on your setup. So let's not bother with that right now. So what I need to do now is just say different names for the different triggers. First one, 61, perfect. 65, 61, channel 5, note 65. Okay, I'm just copy and pasting channel 5N, so I don't have to type the whole thing every time. Okay, 5, maybe the next 66. Okay, be sure to separate each name with spaces so it knows you actually want to rename the next channel. So the first one is going to take this name, second one this, the third one this, and so on. 66, okay. 68, perfect. 6, 72, okay, and 73, and I think that's it. No, I still need to have one. $77 is perfect. And now it's working. So for me, as I'm hearing it directly from my MIDI device, it's perfectly in sync because there's no latency with MIDI, especially when you're either sending it via USB or via its Ethernet connection. But you might be hearing a bit of a lag because of the buffer of the audio interface. Audio needs a buffer to have time to be processed by your computer, so that's why it might not seem really in sync. If I have to make sure it's in sync when I'm recording, what I do, if I want to make my image meet the same latency, is go to cache and set my and select like a different index in my cache. So how can I do that? I'm just okay. Oh yeah, that's perfect. By outputting the 20th index, like recording the last 20 frames and displaying not the current frame but the one that's was displayed 20 frames ago, I'm able to compensate from the latency and have the audio at the same time as my image. And now if I want to record, movie file out, I'm taking this audio in audio chop. So movie file out is not going to record your audio if you don't specify where it should get the audio from. So that's it. And now if I click, just clicking unique suffix and hitting record, and now we see with this link that is sending the audio from here. And now that's exactly the video that you saw in the beginning. So this is full circle. So let me post that in case it's really deafening. I don't know. Okay. So now you saw how to take an image, analyze the pixel, and with that value, treat it to display it, and combine it with the original analyzed video. And also how you can rename your triggers, so any triggers, and send values to your MIDI instrument. What I could do is to disconnect the MIDI out, create, for instance, keyboard in with key 1 detected. I could rename this as channel 5 CH5 and 80, for instance, and connect it to MIDI out. And now it works. Like it automatically triggers the note. So now it's really up to you to decide what you want to use, what you want to trigger, and from what. We've been using that, but it could be as simple as, for instance, let's create an LFO. In this LFO, we want square wave. Okay. We want channels going from 1 to 7. So right now I have 7 channels, and I want them to be like evenly, to have evenly offset phases. So I'm going to in phase do a little bit of magic I found on in the operator snippets and say mi.chan index divided by mi.num.chant. And right now what it did is it just, for the first one, this index of this channel is 0. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the number of channels in this operator is 7. So this first channel will have a phase of 0 over 7, so 0. This one, 1/7. This one, 2/7, 3/7, 4, 5, 6. So it's no matter how many channels you want to create, it's automatically going to have evenly divided phases. So let's stick with square, channel 7, and you can use the same rename and send these values to your instrument. So you could be using an image to generate the notes, but you could be using really any value that goes from 0 to 1 and can be renamed accordingly to this standard. You can create music with. So I expect, like, I hope you're going to really see how you can be creative with that, and I hope it gives you a lot of ideas. Thank you so much. Oh, let me just, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Patreons. like on my Patreon, the people that support me. I really appreciate it. And for the people subscribed to the paid tier, you will be able to have this file for download on the Patreon. For the other, you're getting the same content in this video. So don't feel left out. And also you can join my Discord server on which we do weekly challenges to help discover more visual styles and workflows in TouchDesigner. If you want to ask me some questions about the tutorial, ask me on Patreon or on Discord or Instagram, and I will, yeah, I will try to to help you. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.